Hello, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Barrett McDonald, and I'm joyfully joined today by Laura Kanaan, CEO at MDW Law. Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to kick things off about a little bit about who you are and what got you started on your entrepreneurial journey?
Sure. Thanks, Barrett. As you said, I'm the CEO of MDW Law, formerly the managing partner. I've been practicing family law for about 14 years, and I have recently moved out of the day-to-day practice to work full-time on the management. At MDW, we are a family law and personal injury firm. We operate in teams. We're really proud of the way that we've built our business up to be, we think, different than other law firms in the market and in Halifax. People often ask us, well, what makes us different? So we're really, really focused on not only the law, we are focused on that, but in how we get the law done. So we've taken about 5 years to focus on the systems and process and our team-based execution model to kind of really refine how that file gets through our firm, sort of from end to end, and what that client experience is like, and how we can be, better and faster and stronger through each iteration of our team model. So we're really proud of ourselves. And for us, the next step is expansion. So that's what we're currently focusing on.
That's sounds like a good system that you've developed. We talked a little bit off camera too, so it's a good one. So you mentioned expansion. So what kind of qualities are you going to look for in future lawyers and partners and every support staff in between as you grow, and how do you foster that positive work environment with them?
So as we grow, we're really looking for potential partners who have a growth mindset. And it would really help if they also have sort of an improvement mindset. So if they can see process. And one of the questions that I ask, not only potential partners, but when we're doing our hiring at MDW at the firm, is tell me about a time that you set a goal for yourself. And, what was that like for you? And I know this is kind of a common question, but I'm looking for something very specific from these people. The people who say, well, I decided that I wanted to run a marathon, so I did. Yes, I'm very impressed that you ran a marathon, but what I wanted you to tell me was, I decided on this date that I was going to run a marathon, and this is the process that I went through to get there. Here's how I did it, and then this is what I did to maintain it after the fact. If you explain the process to me when you're answering this question, it means you can see process. And because so much of what we do and how we do the law at MDW is focused on process execution and operations, if you can't see process, I do think you'll struggle to fit into our model. So that's really what I'm looking for. People who can see process, who love process, and who want to improve, and that growth mindset, because we are always changing.
Absolutely. So what would you say are some of the common misconceptions you've come across about operating a business such as yours, and what do you do to combat them?
Oh my goodness. That's easy. The biggest one is that a lot of business owners, and I don't want to call lawyers out, but I'll say lawyers, even accountants, professional service companies, they think that their business is so unique, or the kind of work they do is so unique, that it can't be systematized. They can't, process cannot be put around it. It's too, there's too much variance day to day. There's too much chaos, and, it's just impossible to really systematize the kind of work that we do. And in fairness, we used to think this too. So if you rewind to 2019, when we started transforming the way that we do the law, we were very resistant to creating the kind of systems that we have today, because we thought, well, with family law especially, but also personal injury, like, you never know what you're going to get. Every day is different. You can't plan. It's all wrong. You can, but we couldn't see that. So if I was to identify something that I think is a misconception, it's that, a professional services company can't use the same kind of systems and process that other kinds of businesses can and do use and benefit from, because we absolutely can. And when you can unlock, especially in a law firm, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 core processes and start to mature those, that's when you start to see capacity and efficiency just unlocked, and it's unlimited potential at that point. I
That
can give
sounds
you
interesting.
examples if you want. I've got lots
No,
of
no, no.
examples.
I think it makes sense because when we can systematize at least 80% of what we're doing, it leaves room to really humanize the other 20%. So I think that's pretty spot on. And to recognize that is a massive win. So if you had to start all over again in business and start off from square one, what would you do differently the next time around?
Oh my goodness. Probably 2 things. So the first one is we would have improved our ratios a long time ago. And so what I mean by that in the context of our law firm is we were working on a traditional model of 2 lawyers sharing 1 assistant. We called them like legal assistants. And so the result is that the lawyers schedule and calendar would bottleneck all the files because you could only get things done as quickly as essentially the lead lawyer could get them done. And because there was only 1 person working on the file in addition to the lawyer, actually, I guess it would be 0.5 because you're splitting it with another lawyer. So if 0.5 working on the file in addition to you, it was just the cycle time on files was way too long, the efficiency wasn't there, and there was tons of chaos and waste. And so the thing that we learned through this is the better your ratios are, the more you can, the more families you can help. The cycle time on a file is shorter, which means that, a divorce proceeding that might have taken us 6 months or a year, we could now get their paperwork done in half the time or a third of the time, and so if I could go back in time, I would have said, just even without all the systems and everything, just to hire 3 or 4 more support staff per lawyer and just go and see where you get with that. It was a huge constraint for us, and it took us a very long time to realize that that was holding us back. The second one,
now you've realized it.
yes, exactly. And it's unlocked the whole world of potential. It's what I attribute our growth to. That and, our systems, but really getting the ratios right unlocked so much potential for us. The other thing is we would have looked at real estate much, much sooner. It just wasn't on our radar until we bought a couple of years ago. We bought the Humanity Cafe and we renovated it in the North End. But before that, I don't know. I guess we weren't thinking in that way as law firm owners, and I wish we had have.
Well, fantastic. The key is that you've gotten it there. So you kind of touched on attributing some of your growth to that model. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that you attribute your growth to?
Yeah, I would say it's been maturing our processes as we went, because we've unlocked sort of, we started with our scheduling process. We created an inventory process, a sales funnel, but then we really started to focus on the recruiting and how we find the right people. How do we train them properly so they can come into the systems and take advantage of what we've built? And I do think that our ability to recruit, train, and retain have helped us sustain what we've built and also continue to grow. Talking to other business owners and other lawyers, I understand right now in the legal industry that hiring and retaining, talent, professionals, for lack of a better word, is a huge constraint for a lot of people. So the fact that we've been able to continue to do it, I think, is a testament to what it's like to work at MDW, but also how we train and develop our people.
Well, that's amazing. And now that you've kind of touched on staffing again, have been some of your biggest learnings as an employer since you began a business, like with that responsibility of being responsible for not just your own family, but everyone else's as well?
So one of the things I think we used to assume about people working with us is that we knew what was important to them. And I'm just going to say it. I think one of the things that we used to think was the more they get paid, the happier they'll be. And we have learned that development is, as important, if not more important, for long-term employee retention as the financial aspect of it. And one of our vision at MDW is to pay at the top of the market anyway. So we don't want that piece to ever be a barrier to someone staying with us. But I think for people to truly stay and thrive, you need to look at their development. And so probably 3 years ago, we started doing development meetings where, people send us a bit of a summary in advance. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Strengths, weaknesses. And we have this exploratory meeting with them where they determine 3 to 4 actions that they want to develop. And they aren't all related to the business, which is the most beautiful part. Some of them are personal, it's optional, but a lot of people choose to share them. And there's lots of times that we can actually help people with the personal goals as well. So we create a little report for them, we send it out, and we hold them accountable. And we kind of help them break down what are the things you need to do to, accomplish these actions, what can we do? And then we meet with them every 3 to 6 months to status that plan. And that has been hugely successful for us.
Fantastic to foster that like growth world and environment. It's a good way to be. So last kind of formal question is, how do you balance your personal life and the demands of running such a growing enterprise?
So I actually incorporate one of the processes that we created for the firm. It's scheduling. Because once you can, learn that, if you have visibility over what needs to get done and you know when it's going to happen, with the exception, it's the 80-20, like plan to 80%, leave 20% for, unexpected events. And if anybody from the firm ever hears me say this, they're going to plug their ears, because the amount of times a week I say plan 80%, 2 weeks of 80% work plan, but it's true. So that's what I do. So I just carry that over into my personal life. I don't stop at planning my work days. I look at my evenings. I block the things that I have. I was saying I've got kids and competitive sports and that kind of thing. And then I leave room for the other stuff. The other thing that I do that's really helpful is the drains and gains list. So I create a list of all the things that I have to do. And I put them into one of 2 categories, drains and gains. So the gains are things I still have to do, but they give me life. So like, for example, I love watching my daughter's dance classes. I have to take her, I have to be there, but I enjoy it. A drain that I have is scheduling our family photos every year. It's kind of stupid, but it's just one, I just can't stand doing it. Or buying the birthday gifts for the birthday parties. Like there's just little things like that. So once I get my drain and gain list, I look at the drains and I figure out how can I get these off my plate? Because there's always going to be more things than you can do. So I take my drains and I say, okay, how can I do this? So one example is I bought a ton of gift cards and a ton of birthday cards from Costco. And now when a birthday party comes up, just go to the drawer, pull them out, ready to go. So, just trying to offload some of those drains makes a massive, massive difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Prioritizing those things makes sense. It's eating that frog and getting it done right away and as early as possible. So it's a perfect way to be. So last kind of off the cuff question is, for anyone watching at home thinking about jumping onto an entrepreneurial journey, what's a piece of advice you have for them?
Don't wait until everything feels perfect. Don't wait until it feels low risk. You're going to reinvent what you've done a million times anyway. So just get started.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you better and hearing more about your business. And to all of you watching, wherever you may be, I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.
Thanks, Barrett.